What is going on, everybody? We are back with draft classes in NBA 2K26. So I'm happy to introduce my 2026 NBA draft class, at least the first iteration of it, and it is available now on 2K Share if you are on PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series consoles. So today I'm just going to do a brief overview of the draft class, how to access it, what it features, some bugs I've been encountering that might affect your My NBA experience using the draft class, and then some expectations for the draft class as the year progresses on through NBA 2K26. So the first place I want to start is how to actually download this draft class. So from the main menu, you want to go to Features, then go to Roster, and then Create Draft Class, and select NBA, then User Created Draft Class. If you are on Xbox consoles, press Y. If you're on PlayStation 5, press triangle, and then search Brian D for 3, the same way that it's spelled in my YouTube name. Then select my 2026 NBA draft class here. And then you could save the file to your console and have direct access to it when you start your My NBA files. You can also load the draft class directly from My NBA. So after you select your team in My NBA, you'll be prompted with a screen to load or download a draft class. What you want to do is select load/download draft class, and then similarly you want to search by my gamer tag Brian D3 and then follow the same steps. All you have to do is select it and then you'll be good to go, and it will be available in your My NBA file. Now that we've gone through how to actually access the draft class, I want to talk about just what it includes right now as of today. By the time you're watching this, the draft class will have at least 24 players. If you're watching this months down the road after September, there's going to be more than that. I'll put the full list of player names that I have in the draft class on the screen here. This list is going to grow over time, especially as the amateur basketball season continues and draft stocks rise and fall. I'm planning to incrementally add players every month, but I'm going to be spending most of my time during each month cleaning up the existing players that I've released in the draft class and optimizing the My NBA experience for those players. So think about the signature, the tendencies, the potential ratings, etc. So what you can expect from me is an update video every first Sunday of the month, detailing all of the updates that I've made from the previous month, including new players, attribute updates, signature updates, and anything else that I've changed from the previous month. If you're still a little skeptical about what you're getting with my draft class, I've actually released a complimentary roster that includes all of the players in my draft class so that you'll have the chance to test these players individually. So I'll put the information on the screen of what the roster name is. You can just go through the same process that you went through to download my draft class to download the roster. And from there, you can load the roster in freestyle mode and get a chance, again, to play with these players. I know a lot of times when you do a My NBA, you only get maybe 1 or 2 first round picks and you don't get to really play with a lot of these guys. And this gives you the chance to do that, as well as kind of play with these guys with a more critical eye and give me some feedback along the way as well. So again, more information will be at least in the description of this video. Should have been on the screen already. If you want me to release another video with more information on this roster, I'd be happy to do so. Next, I want to cover a couple of issues that may affect your experience with this draft class, and this has more so to do with 2K than it does me. So the first place I want to start with is with player names right now. So what I found so far in NBA 2K26 is that if either the first name of a player or the last name of a player is not in the preset database, like the list of names that 2K kind of provides, then you kind of get a hanging screen when you share the draft class to 2K Share, and you're unable to do anything. The screen just hangs for several minutes, it doesn't leave this screen. You can't press B to escape or anything. So what that has kind of made me do is give certain players like different names to like alias them so that they are in the draft class. So right now I will put a list of names on the screen and their associated alias in my 2K draft class. If you guys don't like this approach and would rather me just not include the players at all, I can do that as well. But I cannot at this moment in time have their actual names in the draft class, which is kind of annoying. I was able to barely squeak by and get like AJ DiBonsa into the draft class, Darren Peterson because his first name is spelled with a Y, so it's not in the database, etc. So once a workaround or a fix is done for this issue, of course, I'll update all the player names that I have listed here to reflect what they are in real life. The last glitch I want to address has to do with the player overalls and ages in the create a player menu. So in NBA 2K26, when you create a player, no matter what attributes you give him, they are going to have bolstered overall ratings. So for example, I released my AJ DiBonsa creation video. He has an 80 overall at this moment in time. Despite this, in my create a player menu, he has a 99 overall rating. Because his overall rating exceeds the potential that I already gave him, which was 93, the potential rating automatically goes up to match the overall rating. So the potential automatically goes to 99. So if I were to copy over my AJ DiBonsa to my draft class, he's going to have a 99 potential when he should have a 93. So this can cause some potential errors if I miss it. So just keep an eye out for little things like this and let me know if you have any issues or if you see anything or I missed something, etc. But it's just an honest mistake. It has to do more so, again, with 2K than it does with me. And I apologize in advance if I missed something. Now, on a lighter note, let's get into some of the features that you'll be getting with my draft class. Starting with the main differentiator, which is going to be the dynamic ratings in the draft class. So I think this is going to be the main differentiator between my draft class and others that you might use on 2K Share. I'll be updating player attributes over the course of the amateur season. I will be updating at least once a month. As I mentioned, the first Sunday of every month, I'll be pushing out a new update. This actually equates to about 6 to 8 games that a player plays. So at minimum, you're going to be getting 5 attribute updates for all the players in the draft class. And I'll put a list of the attributes on screen that I'll primarily be focusing on through box score stats. But of course, there's going to be updates that I have to do using the eye test. And I do watch film of these guys, so I will be keeping my eyes out. Again, especially for like draft risers and fallers who might see larger changes in their attribute ratings. So you can expect the next draft class update to hit on the first Sunday of October. I will have added more players by that time, but obviously no college games will have been played at that time. So it will probably feature more of a player-focused update with more players added than usual. So think somewhere in the neighborhood of 7 to 9 players added in the next update. The next area of emphasis I want to touch on with my draft class has to do with the potential ratings for each player, and not only like the surface level potential rating, but also the minimum and max potential ratings and the associated boom and bust probabilities associated for each player as well. So just want to let you guys know that I am focused on all of these values for each individual player. If I have not established the value for an individual player yet, I will just set their average potential probability to 99 and set the boom and the bust to 0%. But everyone else that I have updated, I will have an associated value for. And since these attributes, you have to go into the edit player screen for each of them, I'm actually developing an app for you guys to be able to use and click on and work with yourselves so that you can like simulate drafting these players to know what to expect for their expected outcome. So for example, if I take the app, this is just a prototype, it's going to look a lot better, and I'm sure I'm going to have it done by the next month's update. But if I just click on one simulation for this draft, you can see how the outcome displays for these players that I have actually established values for. And this may change each individual time. So rather than you having to create multiple different MyNBAs or different versions of saves to see this play out in real time, you can get an idea of like whether a player is going to hit their max potential or not, or even hit below that with this app. So that's something, again, I have a big focus on. And as perceptions change on these prospects, these values are going to change as well. And like I said, I have players who I'm working on updating these values for, who will be added to this app as well as this continues to be fleshed out. So I'll do a video on this at a later point in time, kind of detailing what this process is like and kind of what strategy you should take with the draft when you go about this process. The next feature you'll see throughout my draft class has to do with hot zones, tendencies, and signatures. So hot zones, sort of similarly to what I'm doing for the potential ratings, I am developing a program that will generate shot charts for me and identify player hot zones that way. I'm also aware of CBB analytics that exist to do something exactly like this, but it's nice to have control over your own set of games to display shooting values for. So I do have my eyes on hot zones and will update those as player shots kind of roll in throughout the season. Tendencies. So those will be updated over time just to refine simulation and AI gameplay within MyNBA. It is a pretty steep hill to climb. So if there are any glaring issues with your MyNBA experience, let me know and I'll do my best to address those problems while trying to stay true to what the player is supposed to represent. The other major differentiator, I think, with my draft class is going to be in the signatures, namely the jump shots for these players. I take a lot of time to actually observe how these guys shoot the basketball and mapping their release and form to how they shoot in real life. If you want an example of this, just check out my TikTok that I did on AJ DiBonsa to see the level of detail that I go to with the jump shots. I will be doing that for more players, so stay tuned to my TikTok account for kind of more comparisons to how players shoot in real life. But that is a major focus of this draft class, is making sure that jump shots look accurate and that they are very comparable to the players' real life counterparts. The next feature you're going to get with my draft class is sneakers. So I am doing my best to update players' sneakers to show what they're actually wearing in real life. So you're going to see players like Tunde Yesufu, Dame Sarr, Cameron Boozer. They have shoes on right now that I have seen them wear in real life. If you look at my Cameron Boozer creation video, you'll see that that holds true as well, that I've been paying attention, and I'm planning to keep these things updated throughout the season and try to have at least one sneaker that a player has worn during the amateur season. And then the last thing I want to touch on is just player measurements. So I'm going to be going by the listed heights and weights of players according to what their school or their professional team provides. So if a player participated in the combine last year, I'm not going to be abiding by their height and weight from the combine. I'm going to be using the listed height and weight provided by the team in the 25-26 season. I will, however, be using their wingspan value from the combine if they participated, and their max vertical to help produce the vertical rating, sprint for speed, etc. So if they did any non-height weight sort of thing at the combine, I will be applying those things to the player either in their vitals or in their attribute ratings. Okay, just kidding. There is one more thing. It's very important that I didn't talk about. It's just the face creations within the draft class. So right now, as it stands, I have created all of these player faces myself. The plan is to continue doing that throughout the course of the year and kind of making refinements to the player faces where I need to. Again, I've done all of the face creations by myself. However, if I do see that somebody has a better face creation than I do, I don't really have a problem with taking what somebody else has done and applying that to my draft class. I'm not too prideful to have someone else's face creation that's better be in my draft class. And if that does happen, I will be sure to give whoever did that face creation the credit that they deserve for doing that, because I know how much work goes into this process. But at the end of the day, I just want everybody to have the best possible draft class experience. So all these features might be a lot to digest, but a way you can make it easier for yourself is just be sure you're subscribed to my channel. Make sure to follow me across socials as well. So TikTok, Twitter, keep an eye out on my YouTube shorts as well, so you can get this information in more bite-sized pieces as things continue to roll out over the course of the year. So if you made it this far, thank you for listening. Thank you for giving this draft class a shot. And also special thanks to all the publicly available resources out there: Draft Express, Ben Pfeiffer, No Ceilings podcast, all great resources for learning about these draft prospects and helping me apply attributes to these players. So thanks again for your support. Stay tuned, and I hope you guys have a great day.